when John said Dr. Zeus didn't want to be a preacher? Well, today I'm the preacher. So good morning. My name is Melinda, and I'm honored to be here with you today and share some thoughts on how we all have a little Grinch in us now and then and where this might come from. I'm so glad that John shared a little about the Grinch with us this morning. It was my understanding that this movie was the topic for the week, and I talked to Reverend Donna, and she made me promise, which I hardly ever do, but I did because it was Reverend Donna, to watch the movie, so I did. And, of course, you know how Reverend Donna always changes the topic? Well, so did I. And so the name of my talk is The Unopened Gift. In this center and all of the centers of spiritual living, we turn to treatment to heal any discord, chaos, or disease. We sometimes do this in a practitioner session where the practitioner looks for the cause of a condition. We suffer not because suffering is imposed upon us, rather because we have forgotten our true nature. Some trauma or misunderstanding occurred at just the right time to create this irritant. So when we talk about spiritual healing, we usually look for the implant of an event in our lives that relates to the afflictive emotion, our self-defeating behavior we are currently experiencing. Most likely, this occurred during our childhood, when we were especially vulnerable to implants of a harmful nature to our delicate psyche. Dr. Joe Dispenza explains how we as children are affected at different ages. I found this very interesting. For example, children between the ages of 0 and 2 are still operating from slow brainwave patterns, like the ones we experience during meditation and our deepest sleep. This is why infants are only awake for short periods of time. Between the ages of 2 and 6, our brainwaves move into a hypnotic, suggestible state. Because of this, we become very programmable. Information we receive goes right into the subconscious mind. We may receive suggestions that create a negative influence, and I think some of us here today will remember these. Big boys don't cry. Children should be seen and not heard. You're not an artist. I'm sure you remember some of your own irritating implants. And between the ages of 6 and 12, we move into the imaginary realm, the realm of imagination when we dream and believe everything is possible. However, after that, our analytical mind gains momentum. We can say that is what's wrong with the Grinch. I imagine it was during his programmable age of vulnerability and that his afflictive emotion was implanted. By the way, through the years, more information came out about his life, and it was added in the movie version after the book. He felt bullied when he tried so hard to fit in and was laughed at because of his weirdness. He was green, hairy, and had very long fingers, and had cut himself up good with a razor because someone said he had a beard, and that was strange for a kid. As his long, uncoordinated hands gave him a shave, he looked even more scary. The others laughed at his strangeness. I've had several childhood implants that grew into afflictive emotions, and I'm sure you have too. Before you say no, it's important to note that these are the thorns we hide. Like Michael Singer says, the thorns in our side cause so many aches and pains. We are good at keeping them in the shadow part of ourselves and at blaming others when we are irritated. The Grinch separated himself from the rest of Whoville and moved into a cave at the top of a mountain just north of Whoville. Poor old Grinch lived all alone with his loyal dog, Max, trying to believe he was happy that way. He constantly resented the Who's in Whoville because they were happy. He lived high above them, always looking down upon them. He was convinced he was doing well, and that the Who's were silly to celebrate with Christmas presents and trees. I think if we're honest with ourselves, we have done the same in theory. We put ourselves above others because we have a higher degree of education, because we have more experience in that field or this field, because we know what they are saying is wrong and we have it on our own authority. We judge others' lifestyles as defective in some way, which makes ours the right way. When someone else is strange to us, we say they are weird. Yet we become inwardly miserable, like the Grinch. Afflictive emotions generate lower vibrations in our mind and our body. Self-defeating behaviors keep us from moving towards a higher consciousness. This lower energy actually invites disease. So in our loneliness, we may attempt to join a group to create that sense of belonging, and sooner or later, we fail. We fail because we are looking to the group or the person to fill our happiness. The truth is no person, place, or thing can fill our emptiness. This is a hard lesson to learn when we're already out of balance and out of connection to our higher self because we're doomed to failure. So how do we rid ourselves of these afflictive emotions that drive our self-defeating behaviors? First, of course, we become aware that they exist as a part of who we are. Then we accept that they are a part of our current operating system. Third, we make a decision, a choice, to cleanse ourselves of the harmful parts of us that are no longer working to aid our success, our happiness, our fulfillment. In other words, we change. We remember and realize there is a better way. This is the approach of many self-help techniques that have been written about for decades. Like Joe Dispenza says, though, it's not enough to know. You have to know how. As many of you know, I'm a fan of Joe Dispenza, and as he gives us clear instructions backed by scientific data to heal our minds and our bodies. I'm just going to add here that Dr. Joe's teachings are in alignment with Science of Mind principles to teach us how to tap into our absolute best potential. There's always been unlimited potential, always. The Who's and Whoville knew that. There was always going to be a Christmas, no matter what. Because to them, Christmas is the meaning of life, the true meaning of life, the unlimited potential of full, open heart and happiness. You probably remember Reverend Donna a couple of weeks ago talking about pulling the weeds from your garden of happiness. Before you plant the new seeds of your choice, there are many techniques. One path is meditation, and Joe's technique is identifying in detail what your weeds are, using the word change out loud, and then replacing your perception with a vision of your future self, exactly as you wish to be. I just love that. To me, that's a gift that he has given me. Remember Debbie Ford? She created a wonderful program for our shadow self. I like Michael Singer's referral to the thorn in our side in his book, The Untethered Soul. As we feel it once in a while, we know it's there, yet we do nothing to remove it. It festers and infects. And our own Dr. Ernest Holmes tells us about the cause. To be aware of the cause of negative emotions, but do not dwell there. Never limit your view of life by past experience. Never limit your view of life by any past experience. The illusion is the way we look at things. We have looked at poverty, degeneration, and misery until they have assumed gigantic proportions. In other words, we feed the negative with our thoughts. I found a quote by Eckhart Tolle that speaks clearly to this. Watch out for thoughts that appear to justify or explain this happiness, but in reality cause it. And from Lloyd Strom, the creator of Financial Freedom course we teach here, one of the primary tools for developing greater awareness is self-observation. It's important to recognize that most of the problems that we experience in our lives are the result of our own misguided actions. By developing the capacity of self-observation, we begin to wake up to our self-defeating behaviors. Once realized, they can be released and no longer repeated. This process frequently occurs in a session with a practitioner. This is what we do in practitioner sessions. It's helpful to be aided by professional guides. It really helped me, and I highly recommend it. Now, I ask for us to take a moment individually to contemplate a few questions. And just whatever comes up, the first thing that comes up, just have that be your response. You might want to close your eyes for a few seconds. And remember your unlimited potential. Who do you want to be? What do you want to think? How do you want to feel? Breathe that in. One side note here, it might be hard to decide how you want to feel, like joyful, for example, if you've not experienced it yet. Just start where you are. Trust the universe. The universe knows for you. Open your heart and you will discover, when asking Divine Mind, that absolutely everything you need is in unlimited potential. It's the name of the soup you're floating around in. Only when you quit being the person you've been holding on to, the past self, will you be able to create a new self. It's not easy to let go of the self we've been protecting and living for so many years. By the way, like John shared, the Grinch was 53 when he changed from believing he was happy up there in his big old easy chair alone with maps. Ernest Holmes shares, the integrity of the universe cannot be questioned or doubted. The spirit must be and is perfect. That which is back of everything must be good, must be complete, must be love and harmony. When we are out of harmony with some special good, it's because we are off track along that particular activity of spirit. From whence came discouragement, fear, doubt, and calamity? They cannot proceed from eternal source, that perfect fountain of life, the inexhaustible one. Therefore, they must come from our own consciousness. But how do we regain lost paradise? Only through soul culture and by careful self-analysis. I ask you to go within once again and invite you to take a moment to answer these questions that Ernest Holmes presents to us. Ask yourself, what is my viewpoint of life? What do I feel my relationship to the whole to be? What do I believe about the cause back of all? Okay, good. I hope you can remember those responses. Cindy Lou became the Grinch's angel as she was young enough to still be full of divine love from whence she came. She saw the Grinch as perfect, whole, and complete, and wanted him to join the rest of the village in the celebration of love. Her purity awakened the little, tucked away, isolated, protected piece of his heart. If we wish to come to the Spirit for the healing of our wounds, let us come in peace with spontaneous joy, for the Spirit is joy. Let us come with thanksgiving also, for the thankful heart is in harmony with life. We must come in quiet confidence, with an open and receptive mind, a believing heart, naturally, sanely, and expectantly. In this way, we are entering the portals of reality, clad in the garments of righteousness. And those words are from Ernest Holmes, an amazing person. The Grinch shows us a perfect example of this. Let go of your isolation. Let go of your superior thought. Let go of bringing negativity into the world. Let go of the garbage. And when he did, his heart grew 3 sizes that day. For me personally, releasing the old afflictive emotions, and I'm sure there's more under there, but the ones I've been working with, has changed my operating system and allowed joy, love, and peace to become evident in my life. I am a new person and so much happier. It's like revealing the wholeness and perfection of God that's already in us all. Lloyd Strom shares, the essence of wholeness does not involve adding anything to ourselves. It is the means by which we duplicate the nature of spirit in order to dispel those psychophysical behaviors that obstruct the expression of our own spiritual perfection. The good news is that we can all be favored by Spirit simply by demonstrating our willingness to change through a program of spiritual practice. Our degree of willingness is demonstrated by our degree of practice. Come in peace, quiet confidence, naturally and expectantly. Open your heart to a whole new way of being. It's never too late to enter Whoville, where love is celebrated every day and especially at Christmas. Unlimited potential, called by several names, is right here, right now. It's your unopened gift. The choice to open it is yours. What are you waiting for? Christmas? Thank you.